Uncanny Alley is a series of animated horror shorts airing on Adult Swim, created by Rodrigo Goalo de Sousa. I know I butchered that, and I'm sorry, but I love his work and I just happen to have skin that looks like vanilla icing, so forgive me. The series has a grayscale comic 2D animation style that looks to me like Tim Burton and Junji Ito's work had a baby. I think Uncanny Alley is a delightful anthology of short, spooky animated stories, and I think you'd love it too. So let's get into it. Short 1. The Screening. We start with a man driving his car. He stops in the middle of the road and picks up a frog, and places it alongside him in the passenger seat. Then it's revealed that this is actually a movie about a man finding a frog on the side of the road and then training it to be a BMX stuntman that's playing to a theater that is entirely empty, save for 2 seats. One, a young woman, and another, some sort of baked potato man who is intent on watching the young woman rather than the movie. The woman is visibly uncomfortable, and the worm cell doesn't seem to care and keeps right on staring, almost like he has ominous intentions. It's then revealed that his shirt is unbuttoned, showing us his bulbous belly, which starts to form pustules. Following this, we see an innard shot of a worm with the man's face crawling through his various tubes, and worms with his face begin pouring out of the theater seats, and the body of the man himself. The woman rudely gets up and leaves while the frog rightfully wins all the money because he is so good at BMX stunts, and she sprints out of the theater before feeling 2 small pustules forming on the back of her neck. The Screening is a great first short to get an understanding of what the series is about. Uncanny Alley shows snippets of scenarios that are absolutely horrifying, but leaves just as much about these scenes in the dark. The horror, on the surface level, comes from things like body horror, insects, monsters, the classics. But it goes deeper than that. Part of the true horror of this series is the unknown. Who is the Worm Man? Why is he afflicted with this disease? He was smiling when the worms ate him. Was this his plan? What will happen to the woman following this? Is this disease a widespread threat that everyone in this world has to deal with? And will the frog be financially responsible with his winnings? While the surface level horrors here are what grab your attention in the moment, keeping you transfixed on screen, the questions that this series raises are responsible for it being so memorable. If I had to mention every time that the art was awesome, the video would just be me saying that the entire time. So let's get it out of the way now. Oftentimes, animation as a medium isn't used to its full potential in regards to things like body horror. In this series, the body horror is a main focus. And you can really see that with the whole maggots with a man baby face burrowing out of somebody's chest thingy. Looking back throughout the series, there isn't even a single word spoken the entire time, and I didn't even notice that until I looked back. That's how entrancing and horrifying the animation is. Not to mention how effective they are at delivering information purely visually. The monsters in this are also all very visceral. Like, you can feel the anatomy responsible for their movements. It feels like it hurts. TLDR, I sing my artsy praises. I did a little dance in the recording studio too. Side note, my favorite part of this short was the comedy of the triangular frog movie alongside the horror. The separation of the 2 scenes and how it breaks up the spooks both adds a needed sense of levity and heightens the tension itself at some points when something that demands our attention just happened with the Worm Man, but we are transfixed by the triangle frog's absolutely sick stunt moves. Moving on. Short 2. The Night Shift. We start with a shot of an empty pool. Then, to a janitor mopping up one of the locker rooms after hours. The door suddenly opens. We hear some spooky critter noises, and then a stabbed up woman rudely leaks blood all over the place that our protagonist literally just mopped. These new age monsters got no respect, I tell you. The ominous noises continue, and our janitor looks not afraid, but sincerely annoyed that he has to mop that crap up again. He follows the creature woman's noises down a now bloody hall because she didn't wipe her damn feet, and then we see that she's doing some sort of weird stretch next to the pool. That honestly looks like pretty good for the lower back. We see that it looks like Urban Spooks the Painter got to her, because she has an unreasonable amount of stab wounds. Like, it looked like someone came up to the killer halfway through and said that 10 stab wounds were overkill, and the killer went, "You know what, fuck you, I'm doing 100. She then starts leaking into the pool.
Hey, everybody out.
We cut to our janitor, still just looking annoyed more than concerned, and then our demon lady starts to speak in tongues. The janitor is then transported to what I believe is the mindscape. There's a whole lot of imagery about religious stuff and people-animal hybrids and people crying and vomiting blood, but you know, those are normal things with likely no deeper meaning behind them, so we don't have to check. We see the impression of our janitor's nervous system, showing that this was likely a hallucination or the demon communicating with them or something. And then we cut to him stumbling down a hallway. He holds his shaky, dumb, frail body and pukes up some blood. He pukes up his entire nervous system, brain, eyes, and all, which proceeds to float away from him up the stairs and into the sky, towards what I can only assume is a promising solo career. Again, while the surface level of scary is a supernatural body horror that plays out quite effectively, the most interesting part of this short for me was the reality that it constructed, and then told us nothing about. First of all, why did he vomit up his brain and spine and all of his nerves and then it turned into a balloon and flew away? Unless that's a normal thing for humans to do. Oh, really? They do? So wait, this was just a slice of life one then? My theory was that he had just become some sort of husk like the lady. That was my initial thought after watching this, but it wouldn't explain all of the stab wounds of the girl. I don't know, maybe she's just kinky. My point is, the mystery of what happened to the lady, why she's all stabbed up, or who's gonna clean up the community pool now, the confounding nature of all this is what really makes these shorts feel like they come from a living, breathing world. A nightmare realm, to be more specific. As for the imagery I said not to worry about, I know there likely is some sort of meaning behind it, but I do not know it. If you have a theory or know, please leave your ideas in the comments below. Otherwise, don't worry about it. If I'm missing some sort of context, I can say that it did not at all dull my enjoyment. And I kinda sometimes prefer not knowing, because it's more mysterious that way. Short 3. The Roommate. The third short starts with a person crumpling up a roach in a tissue. And then they promptly hear an insectoid scuttling from outside the room. Foreshadowing is defined as they open the door to examine and see nothing out of the ordinary in the hallway. They walk down the hall, and then several more little buggies crawl around the hall into the darkness, eliciting a feeling from human beings that I could only assume is comfort. Our protagonist goes into the bathroom. She then looks down into her bathtub full of moldy, rancid, probably bug-filled water. It appears that the weird cum blobs are in fact centipede egg sacs, called it, and then they text a friend about it rather than doing literally anything to rectify that situation, calling it here this dumbass deserves it. We pan up to the ceiling to see it decked out with glowy stars. Pretty cool. Our protagonist falls asleep, and then we pan over to the door, where some sort of centipede monster is looming over the sleeping body for probably only good reasons. Then a centipede crawls out of the creature's mouth and into our protagonist's ears. We get some delightfully slimy internal shots of the centipede crawling deeper and deeper into their brain. Cut to the protagonist waking, seeing the face of the centipede lady watching her, and then she throws off her covers to reveal she's been metamorphosed into a cockroach, and they all lived happily ever after, unless they happened to be her. This one's message in my mind is, don't dish it out if you can't take it. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure it's clean your damn bathtub, nasty. After these 3 shorts, we can begin to put together some themes. I'm seeing lots of insects, transformation, and body mutilation. I'm not sure if all of these stories are from one world. I tend to do a lot of world building projects, so I have those goggles on constantly, but if they are, there appear to be a lot more intelligent and dangerous insects here, and brains fly away. To be completely honest with you, I don't really know what Uncanny Alley is trying to say in its entirety. If anything, it could just be a collection of great short snippet horror pieces. And if so, that's awesome. There is, however, a chance that there's a deeper meaning or story that I'm just too dense to float up towards, so I wanted to mention it. Now for another reason why I made this video. The highest viewership so far after 3 months of these shorts is around 200,000 views, which is impressive, don't get me wrong. That's a lot of people, but in context, for a channel like Adult Swim, however, hosting works such as Smiling Friends and Rick and Morty, it's not insane numbers. I'm not saying that I have the most traction in the world on anything, but if somebody who likes my stuff needs a recommendation for something for Halloween, maybe this. If you like horror, animations, manga, horror comedy, anything of the sort, and you have literally 10 spare minutes, give these a watch. They're well worth your time. If you like this video for some reason, you should like, comment, and subscribe with all notifications enabled, or I'll turn you into a cat. Oh, that's the other one. Shout out the inner circle. Love y'all. Okay, bye.